Act 1 of The Emperor of the Moon by Aphra Behn. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. To the Lord Marquess of Worcester, etc. My Lord, it is a common notion that gathers as it goes, and is almost become a vulgar error, that dedications in our age are only the effects of flattery, a form of compliment, and no more, so that the great, to whom they are only due, decline those noble patronages that were so generally allowed the ancient poets, since the awful custom has been so scandalized by mistaken addresses, and many a worthy piece is lost for want of some honourable protection, and sometimes many indifferent ones traverse the world with that advantageous passport only. This humble offering, which I presume to lay at your lordship's feet, is of that critical nature that does not only require the patronage of a great title, but a great man too, and there is oftentimes a vast difference between these two great things, and amongst all the most elevated, there are but very few in whom an illustrious birth and equal parts complete the hero. But among these your lordship bears the first rank, from a just claim, both of the glories of your race and virtues. Nor need we look back into long past ages to bring down to ours the magnanimous deeds of your ancestors. We need no more than to behold, what we have so often done with wonder, those of the great Duke of Beaufort, your illustrious father, whose every single action is a glorious and lasting precedent to all the future great, whose unshaken loyalty and all other eminent virtues have rendered him to us something more than man, and which alone, deserving a whole volume, would be here but to lessen his fame, to mix his grandeurs with those of any other. And while I am addressing to the son, who is only worthy of that noble blood he boasts, and who gives the world a prospect of those coming gallantries which will equal those of his glorious father. Already, my lord, all you say and do is admired, and every touch of your pen reverenced. The excellency and quickness of your wit is the subject that fits the world most agreeably. For my own part, I never presume to contemplate your lordship, but my soul bows with a perfect veneration to your mighty mind, and while I have adored the delicate effects of your uncommon wit, I have wished for nothing more than an opportunity of expressing my infinite sense of it, and this ambition, my lord, was one motive of my present presumption in dedicating this farce to your lordship. I am sensible, my lord, how far the word farce might have offended some, whose titles of honour, a knack in the dressing, or his art in writing a billet doux had been his chiefest talent, and who, without considering the intent, character, or nature of the thing, would have cried out upon the language, and have damned it, because the persons in it did not all talk like heroes, as too debased and vulgar as to entertain a man of quality. But I am secure from this censure, when your lordship shall be its judge, whose refined sense and delicacy of judgment will, through all the humble actions and trivialness of business, find nature there, and that diversion which was not meant for the numbers, who comprehend nothing beyond the show and the buffoonery. A very barren and thin hint of the plot I had from the Italian, and which, even as it was acted in France 80-odd times without intermission. 'Tis now much altered, and adapted to our English theatre and genius, who cannot find an entertainment at so cheap a rate as the French will, who are content with almost any incoherences, however shuffled together under the name of a farce, which I have endeavoured as much as the thing would bear, to bring within the compass of possibility and nature, that I might as little impose upon the audience as I could. All the words are wholly new, without one from the original. 'Twas calculated for his late majesty of sacred memory, that great patron of noble poetry and the stage, for whom the muses must for ever mourn, and whose loss only the blessings of so illustrious a successor can ever repair. And 'tis a great pity to see that best and most useful diversion of mankind, whose magnificence of old was the most certain sign of a flourishing state, now quite undone by the misapprehension of the ignorant and misrepresenting of the envious, which evidently shows the world is improved in nothing but pride, ill nature, and affected nicety. And the only diversion of the town now is high dispute, and public controversies in taverns, coffee-houses, etc., and those things which ought to be the greatest mysteries in religion, and so rarely the business of discourse, are turned into ridicule, and look but like so many fanatical stratagems to ruin the pulpit as well as the stage. The defence of the first is left to the reverend gown, but the departing stage can be no otherwise restored but by some leading spirits, so generous, so public, and so indefatigable as that of your lordship, whose patronages are sufficient to support it, whose wit and judgment to defend it, and whose goodness and quality to justify it. Such encouragement would inspire the poets with new arts to please, and the actors with industry. 'Twas this that occasioned so many admirable plays heretofore, as Shakespeare's, Fletcher's, and Johnson's, and 'twas this alone that made the town able to keep so many playhouses alive, who now cannot supply one. However, my lord, I, for my part, will no longer complain, if this piece find but favour in your lordship's eyes, and that it can be so happy to give your lordship 1 hour's diversion, which is the only honour and fame is wished to crown the endeavours of your lord, my lordship's most humble and most obedient servant, A. Behn. The Emperor of the Moon. Prologue.
Long and at vast expense the industrious age has strove to please a dull, ungrateful age. With heroes and with gods we first began, and thundered to you in heroic strain. Some dying love-sick queen each night you enjoyed, and with magnificence at last were cloyed. Our drums and trumpets frighted all the women, our fighting scared the beaux and billet-doux men. So Spark in an intrigue of quality grows weary of his splendid drudgery, hates the fatigue, and cries a pox upon her, what a damned bustles here with love and honour. In humbler comedy we next appear, no fop or cuckold but slapdash we had him here. We showed you all, but you, malicious grown, friends' vices to expose and hide your own, cry, damn it, this is such or such a one. Yet nettled plague, what does the scribbler mean with his damned characters and plot obscene? No woman without vizard in the nation can see it twice, and keep her reputation. That's certain, forgetting that he himself in every gross lampoon hurled you the secrets spread about the town. Whilst their feigned niceness is but cautious fear, their own intrigues should be unravelled here. Our next recourse was dwindling down to farce. Then, zounds, what stuff is here! 'Tis all over my Well, gentlemen, since none of these has sped, gad, we have bought a share in the speaking head. So, there you'll save a size. You love good husbandry in all but vice. Whoring and drinking only bears a price.
The head rises upon a twisted post on a bench from under the stage. Gervain speaks to its mouth.
Oh, oh, oh.
Oh, oh, oh.
After this it sings Swanee, laughs, cries God bless the king, in order. Stentor answers.
Speak louder, Jevern, if you'd have me repeat. Plague of this rogue, he will betray the cheat.
He speaks louder. It answers indirectly.
Hum, there 'tis again. Pox of your echo with the northern strain. Well, this will be but a 9 days' wonder, too. There's nothing lasting in the puppet's show. What lady's heart's so hard but it would move to hear Philander and Irene's love? Those sisters, too, the scandalous wits do say, to nameless keeping beaux have made so gay. But those amours are perfect sympathy, their gallants being as mere machines as they. Oh, how the city wife with her known ninny is charmed with, come into my coach, Miss Jenny, Miss Jenny. but overturning fribble cries. Adsnigs, the joggling rogue, has murdered all his kids. The men of war cry, Pox on't, this is dull. We are for rough sports, dog Hector and the bull. Thus each in his degree diversion finds. Your sports are suited to your mighty minds. Whilst so much judgment in your choice you show, the puppets have more sense than some of you.
Dramatis Personae.
Dr. Baliardo, read by Adrian Stevens.
Scaramouche, his man, read by Anna Maria.
Pedro, his boy, read by Mira Williams.
Don Cinthio, nephew to the Viceroy and lover of Elaria, read by Greg Giordano.
Don Charmante, nephew to the Viceroy and lover of Bellemante, read by Tchaikovsky.
Harlequin, Cinthio's man, read by Alan Mapstone.
Officer, read by Sonia.
Clerk, read by Susan Essery.
Stentor, read by Jim Hedrick.
Elaria, daughter to the doctor, read by Annie Mars.
Bellemante, niece to the doctor, read by Maria James.
Florinda, cousin to Elaria and Bellemante, read by Jen Broda.
Mopsiphil, governante to the young ladies, read by Wendy Katzhiller.
Kepler, philosopher, read by Debbie Kearns.
Galileus, philosopher, read by David Purdy.
The Zodiac Chorus, read by Rapunzelina.
Stage directions, read by Todd. The scene, Naples. Act 1, Scene 1, a chamber. Enter Elaria and Mopsiphil.
A curse upon that faithless maid, who first her sex's liberty betrayed, born free as man to love and range, till nobler nature did to custom change. Custom, that dull excuse for fools, who think all virtue to consist in rules.
From love our fetters never sprung, that smiling God, all wanton, gay and young, shows by his wings he cannot be confined to a restless slavery, but here and there at random roves, not fixed to glittering courts or shady groves. Then she that constancy professed was but a well-dissembler at the best, and that imaginary sway she feigned to give in seeming to obey was but the height of prudent art, to deal with greater liberty her heart.
After the song, Elaria gives her lute to Mopsiphil.
This does not divert me, nor nothing will till Scaramouche return, and bring me news of Cinthio.
Truly, I was so sleepy last night I know nothing of the adventure for which you are kept so close a prisoner today, and more strictly guarded than usual.
Cinthio came with music last night under my window, which my father hearing sallied out with his myrmidons upon him, and clashing of swords I heard, but what hurt was done, or whether Cinthio were discovered to him, I know not. But the billet I send him now by Scaramouche will occasion me soon intelligence.
And see, madam, where your trusty Roger comes.
Enter Scaramouche, peeping on all sides before he enters.
You may advance, and fear none but your friends.
Away, and keep the door.
Oh, dear Scaramouche, hast thou been at the Viceroy's?
Yes, yes.
And hast thou delivered my letter to his nephew Don Cinthio?
Yes, yes. What should I deliver else?
Well, and how does he?
Lord, how should he do? Why, what a laborious thing it is to be a pimp.
Fanning himself with his cap.
Why, well, he should do.
So he is, as well as knight adventuring lover can be. He has gone but one wound, madam.
How? Wounded, say you? Oh, heavens, 'tis not mortal.
Why, I have no great skill, but they say it may be dangerous.
I die with fear. Where is he wounded?
Why, madam, he is run quite through the heart, but the man may live if I please.
Thou please, torment me not with riddles.
Why, madam, there is a certain cordial balsam called a fair lady, which outwardly applied to his bosom will prove a better cure than all your weapon or sympathetic powder, meaning your ladyship.
Is Cinthio, then, not wounded?
No, otherwise than by your fair eyes, madam, he got away unseen and unknown.
Dost thou know how precious time is, and dost thou fool it away thus? What said he to my letter?
What should he say?
Why, 100 dear soft things of love. Kiss it as often, and bless me for my goodness.
Why, so he did.
Ask thee 1,000 questions of my health after my last night's fright.
So he did.
Expressing all the kind concern love could inspire for the punishment my father has inflicted on me for entertaining him at my window last night.
All this he did.
And for my being confined a prisoner to my apartment, without the hope or almost possibility of seeing him any more.
There I think you are a little mistaken, for besides the plot that I have laid to bring you together all this night, there are such stratagems a-brewing, not only to bring you together, but with your father's consent too. Such a plot, madam!
Aye, what would be worthy of thy brain? Prithee, what?
Such a device!
I'm impatient.
Such a conundrum! Well, if there be wise men and conjurers in the world, they are intriguing lovers.
Out with it!
You must know, madam, your father, my master the doctor, is a little whimsical, romantic, or Don Quixotish or so.
Or rather mad.
That were uncivil to be supposed by me, but lunatic we may call him without breaking the decorum of good manners, for he is always travelling to the moon.
And so religiously believes there is a world there, that he discourses as gravely of the people, their government, institutions, laws, manners, religion, and constitution, as if he had been bred a Machiavel there.
How came he thus infected first?
With reading foolish books, Lucian's dialogue of the lofty traveller who flew up to the moon and thence to heaven, and heroic business called The Man in the Moon, if you believe a Spaniard, who was carried thither upon an engine drawn by wild geese, with another philosophical piece, a discourse of the world in the moon, with 1,000 other ridiculous volumes too hard to name.
Aye, this reading of books is a pernicious thing. I was like to have run mad once reading Sir John Mandeville. But to the business. I went, as you know, to Don Cinthio's lodgings, where I found him with his dear friend Charmante laying their heads together for a farce.
Farce?
Aye, a farce, which shall be called The World in the Moon, wherein your father shall be so imposed on as shall bring matters most magnificently about.
I cannot conceive thee, but the design must be good, since Cinthio and Charmante own it.
In order to this, Charmante is dressing himself like one of the Kabbalists of the Rosicrucian order, and is coming to prepare my credulous master for the greater imposition. I have his trinkets here to play upon him, which shall be ready.
But the farce, where is it to be acted?
Here, in this very house. I am to order the decorations, adorn a stage, and place scenes proper.
How can this be done without my father's knowledge?
You know the old apartment next the great orchard, and the worm-eaten gallery that opens to the river, which place for several years nobody has frequented. There all things shall be acted proper for our purpose.
Enter Mopsophil, running.
Run, Scaramouche! My master's conjuring for you like mad below. He calls up all his little devils with horrid names. His microscope, his horoscope, his telescope, and all his scopes.
Here. I'd almost forgot the letters. Here's one for you, and one for Mrs. Bellemante.
Runs out. Enter Bellemante with a book.
Here, take my prayer book. Oh, ma très chère.
Embraces her.
Thy eyes are always laughing, Bellemante.
And so would yours, had they been so well employed as mine this morning. I have been at the chapel, and seen so many bows, such a number of plumies, I could not tell which I should look on most. Sometimes my heart was charmed with the gay blonding, then with the melancholy noir, anon the amiable brunette, sometimes the bashful, then again the bold, the little now, anon the lovely tall. In fine, my dear, I was embarrassed on all sides. I did nothing but deal my heart tout à tour.
Oh, there was then no danger, cousin?
No, but abundance of pleasure.
Why, this is better than sighing for Charmante.
That's when he's present only, and makes his court to me. I can sigh to a lover, but will never sigh after him. But oh, the bows, cousin, that I saw at church.
Oh, you had great devotion to heaven then.
And so I had, for I did nothing but admire its handiwork. But I could not have prayed heartily if I had been dying, but a deuce on't, who should come in and spoil all but my lover Charmante, so dressed, so gallant, that he drew together all the scattered fragments of my heart, confined my wandering thoughts, and fixed them all on him. Oh, how he looked, how he was dressed! Chevalier, cheveux blancs, plus des mouches, plus des poudres, plus des ribbons et canons. Oh, what a dear ravishing thing is the beginning of an amour!
Thou art still in tune. When wilt thou be tame, Bellemante?
When I am weary of loving, Elaria.
To keep up your humour, here's a letter from your Charmante.
Bellemante reads.
Malicious creature, when wilt thou cease to torment me, and either appear less charming or more kind? I languish when from you, and am wounded when I see you, and yet I am eternally courting my pain. Cinthio and I are contriving how we shall see you tonight. Let us not toil in vain. We ask but your consent. The pleasure will be all ours. 'Tis therefore fit we suffer all the fatigue. Grant this, and love me, if you will save the life of your Charmante. Live then, Charmante. Live as long as love can last.
Well, cousin, Scaramouche tells me of a rare designs a-hatching. To relieve us from this captivity, here are we mewed up to be espoused to mooncalves for aught I know. For the devil of any human thing is suffered to come near us without our government and keeper, Mr. Scaramouche.
Who, if he had no more honesty and conscience than my uncle, would let us pine for want of lovers. But, thanks be praised, the generosity of our cavaliers has opened their obdurate hearts with a golden key that lets them in at all opportunities. Come, let's in, and answer their billets doux.
Exeunt. Scene 2. A garden. Enter Doctor, with all manner of mathematical instruments hanging at his girdle. Scaramouche bearing a telescope 20 or more foot long.
Set down the telescope. Let me see, what hour is it?
About 6 o'clock, sir.
Then 'tis about the hour that the great monarch of the upper world enters into his closet. Mount the telescope.
What to do, sir?
I understand, at certain moments critical, one may be snatched of such a mighty consequence, to let the sight into the secret closet.
How, sir? Peep into the king's closet. Under favour, sir, that will be something uncivil.
Uncivil? It were flat treason if it should be known, but this unseen, and as wise politicians should, I take survey of all. This is the statesman's peeping hole, through which he steals the secrets of the king, and seems to wink at distance.
The very keyhole, sir, through which, with half an eye, he sees him at his devotion, sir.
On knocking at the garden gate.
Take care none enter.
Scaramouche goes to the door.
Oh, sir, sir, here's some strange great man come to wait on you.
Great man? From whence?
Nay, from the moon world, for aught I know, for he looks not like the people of the lower orb.
Ha! And that may be. Wait on him in.
Exit Scaramouche. Enter Scaramouche, bare, bowing before Charmante, dressed in a strange fantastical habit, with harlequin. Salutes the doctor.
Dr. Baliardo, most learned sir, all hail. Hail from the great Kabbalah of Utopia.
Most reverend bard, thrice welcome.
Salutes him low.
The fame of your great learning, sir, and virtue, is known with joy to the renowned society.
Fame, sir, has done me too much honour to bear my name to the renowned Kabbalah.
You must not attribute it all to fame, sir. They are too learned and wise to take up things from fame. Sir, our intelligence is by ways more secret and sublime. The stars and the little demons of the air inform us all things, past, present, and to come.
I must confess, the Count of Gabalis renders it plain, from writ divine and humane, there are such friendly and intelligent demons.
I hope you do not doubt that doctrine, sir, which holds that the four elements are peopled with persons of a form, and species more divine than vulgar mortals. Those of the fiery regions we call the salamanders. They beget kings and heroes, with spirits like their dialectical sires. The lovely inhabitants of the water we call nymphs. Those of the earth are gnomes or fairies. Those of the air are sylphs. These, sir, when in conjunction with mortals, beget immortal races, such as the firstborn man, which had continued so, had the first man ne'er doted on a woman.
I am of that opinion, sir, man was not made for woman.
Most certain, sir, man was to have been immortalized by the love and conversation of these charming sylphs and nymphs, and women by the gnomes and salamanders, and to have stocked the world with demigods, such as this day inhabit the empire of the moon.
Most admirable philosophy and reason. But do these sylphs and nymphs appear in shapes?
The most beautiful of all the sons and daughters of the universe. Fancy, imagination is not half so charming, and then so soft, so kind. But none but the Kabbalah and their families are blessed with their divine addresses. Were you but once admitted to that society?
Aye, sir, what virtues or what merits can accomplish me for that great honour?
An absolute abstinence from carnal thought, devout and pure of spirit, free from sin.
I dare not boast my virtues, sir. Is there no way to try my purity?
Are you very secret?
'Tis my first principle, sir.
And one of the most material in our Rosicrucian order. Please you to make a trial?
As how, sir, I beseech you?
If you be thoroughly purged from vice, the opticals of your sight will be so illuminated that glancing through this telescope you may behold one of these lovely creatures, that people the vast region of the air.
Sir, you oblige profoundly.
Kneel then, and try your strength of virtue, sir. Keep your eye fixed and open.
He looks in the telescope. While he is looking, Charmante goes to the door to Scaramouche, who waited on purpose without, and takes a glass with a picture of a nymph on it and a light behind it, that as he brings it, it shows to the audience. Goes to the end of the telescope.
Can you discern, sir?
Methinks I see a kind of glorious cloud drawn up, and now 'tis gone again.
Saw you no fugger?
None.
Then make a short prayer to Alakin, the spirit of the East. Shake off all earthly thoughts, and look again.
He prays. Charmante puts the glass into the mouth of the telescope.
Astonished, ravished with delight, I see a beauty young and angel-like, leaning upon a cloud.
Seems she on a bed? Then she's reposing, and you must not gaze.
Now a cloud veils her from me.
She saw you peeping then, and drew the curtains of the air between.
I am all rapture, sir, at this rare vision. Is it possible, sir, that I may ever hope the conversation of so divine a beauty?
Most possible, sir. They will court you. Their whole delight is to immortalize Alexander, was begot by a salamander. That visited his mother in the form of a serpent, because he would not make King Philip jealous, and that famous philosopher Merlin was begotten on a Vestal nun, a certain king's daughter, by a most beautiful young salamander, as indeed all the heroes and men of mighty minds are.
Most excellent.
The nymph Egeria is enamored on Numa Pompilius, came to him invisible to all eyes else, and gave him all his wisdom and philosophy. Zoroaster, Trismegistus, Apuleius, Aquinius, Albertus Magnus, Socrates and Virgil, had their Zilphid, which the foolish called their demon or devil. But you are wise, sir.
But do you imagine, sir, they will fall in love with an old mortal?
They love not like the vulgar. 'Tis the immortal part they dote upon.
But, sir, I have a niece and daughter, which I love equally. Were it not possible they might be immortalized?
No doubt on't, sir, if they be pure and chaste.
I think they are, and I'll take care to keep 'em so, for I confess, sir, I would fain have a hero to my grandson.
You never saw the Emperor of the Moon, sir, the mighty Iridonazar?
Never, sir. His court I have, but 'twas confusedly too.
Refine your thoughts, sir, by a moment's prayer, and try again.
He prays. Charmante claps the glass with the Emperor on it. He looks in and sees it.
It is too much for mortal eyes. I see a monarch seated on a throne, but seems most sad and pensive.
Forbear then, sir, for now his love fits on, and then he would be private.
His love fit, sir?
Ay, sir, the Emperor's in love with some fair mortal.
And can he not command her?
Yes, but her quality being too mean, he struggles, though a king, 'twixt love and honour.
It were too much to know the mortal, sir?
'Tis yet unknown, sir, to the Cabalists, who are now using all their arts to find her, and serve his majesty. But now my great affair deprives me of you. Tomorrow, sir, I'll wait upon you again, and now I've tried your virtue, tell you wonders.
I humbly kiss your hands, most learned sir.
Charmante goes out. Doctor waits on him to the door, and returns. To him, Scaramouche. All this while Harlequin was hid in the hedges, peeping now and then, and when his master went out, he was left behind.
So, Don Charmante has played his part most exquisitely. I'll in and see how it works in his pericranium. Did you call, sir?
Scaramouche, I have, for thy singular wit and honesty, always had a tenderness for thee above that of a master to a servant.
I must confess it, sir.
Thou hast virtue and merit that deserves much.
Oh, Lord, sir!
And I may make thee great. All I require is that thou wilt double thy diligent care of my daughter and my niece, for there are mighty things designed for them, if we can keep 'em from the sight of man.
The sight of man, sir?
Ay, and the very thoughts of man.
What antidote is there to be given to a young wench against the disease of love and longing?
Do you your part, and because I know thee discreet and very secret, I will hereafter discover wonders to thee. On pain of life, look to the girls. That's your charge.
Doubt me not, sir, and I hope your reverence will reward my faithful services with Mopsiphil, your daughter's gouvernante, who is rich, and has long had my affection, sir.
Harlequin, peeping.
Oh, traitor!
Set not thy heart on transitory, mortal. There's better things in store. Besides, I have promised her to a farmer for his son. Come in with me, and bring the telescope.
Exit Doctor and Scaramouche. Harlequin comes out on the stage.
My mistress Mopsiphil to marry a farmer's son. What? Am I then forsaken? abandoned by the false fair one? If I have honour, I must die with rage, reproaching gently and complaining madly. It is resolved, I'll hang myself. Nah, when did I ever hear of a hero who hanged himself? Nah, 'tis the death of rogues. What if I drown myself? Nah, useless dogs and puppies are drowned. A pistol or a caper on my own sword would look more nobly, but I have a natural aversion to pain. Besides, it is as vulgar as rat's bane, or the slicing of the weasand. No, I'll die a death uncommon, and leave behind me an eternal fame. I have somewhere read an author, either ancient or modern, of a man that laughed himself to death. I am very ticklish, and am resolved to die that death. Oh, Mopsaville, my cruel Mopsaville!
Pulls off his hat, sword, and shoes.
And now farewell world, fond love, and mortal cares.
He falls to tickle himself, his head, his ears, his armpits, hands, sides, and soles of his feet, making ridiculous cries and noises of laughing several ways, with antic leaps and skips. At last falls down as dead. Enter Scaramouche.
Harlequin was left in the garden. I'll tell him the news of Mopsaville.
Going forward, tumbles over him.
Ha! What's here? Harlequin dead?
Heaving him up, he flies into a rage.
Who is't that thus would rob me of my honour?
Honour? Why, I thought thou'dst been dead.
Why, so I was, and most agreeably dead.
I came to bemoan with thee the mutual loss of our mistress.
I know it, sir, I know it, and that thou art as false as she. Was not a covenant between us that neither should take advantage of the other, but both should have fair play? And yet you basely went to undermine me, and ask her of the doctor. But since she's gone, I'll scorn to quarrel for her. But let's, like loving brothers, hand in hand, leap from some precipice into the sea.
What, and spoil all my clothes? I thank you for that, no. I have a newer way. You know I lodge 4 pair of stairs high. Let's ascend hither, and after saying our prayers...
Prayers? I never heard of a dying hero that ever prayed.
Well, I'll not stand with you for a trifle. Being come up, I'll open the casement, take you by the heels, and sling you out into the street, after which you have no more to do but to come up and throw me down in my turn.
The achievement's great and new, but now I think on it, I am resolved to hear my sentence from the mouth of the perfidious Trollope, for yet I cannot credit it. I'll to the gipsy, though I venture banging, to be undeceived, 'tis hardly worth the hanging.
Exeunt. Scene 3. The chamber of Bellemante. Enter Scaramouche, groping.
So I have got rid of my rival, and shall here get an opportunity to speak with Mopsaville, for hither she must come anon to lay the young lady's night things in order. I'll hide myself in some corner till she come.
Goes on to the further side of the stage. Enter Harlequin, groping.
So I made my rival believe I was gone, and hid myself till I got this opportunity to steal to Mopsaville's apartment, which must be hereabouts. For from these windows she used to entertain my love.
Advances.
Ha! I hear a soft tread. If it were Mopsaville's, she would not come by dark.
Harlequin, advancing, runs against a table, and almost strikes himself backwards.
What was that? A table? There I may obscure myself.
Groping for the table.
What a devil! Is it vanished?
Devil vanished? What can this mean? 'Tis a man's voice. If it should be my master the doctor now, I were a dead man. He can't see me, and I'll put myself into such a posture that if he feel me, he shall as soon take me for a church spout as a man.
He puts himself into a posture ridiculous, his arms akimbo, his knees wide open, his backside almost touching the ground, his mouth stretched wide, and eyes staring. Harlequin, groping, thrusts his hand into his mouth. He bites him, and the other dares not cry out.
Ah, what's this? All mouth with 20 rows of teeth. Now dare not I cry out, lest the doctor should come, find me here, and kill me. I'll try if it be mortal.
Making damnable faces and signs of pain, he draws a dagger. Scaramouche feels the point of it, and shrinks back, letting go his hand.
Who the devil can this be? I felt a poignard, and I am glad I saved my skin from pinking.
Steals out. Harlequin, groping about, finds the table, on which there is a carpet, and creeps under it, listening. Enter Bellemante with a candle in one hand and a book in the other.
I am in a bell humour for poetry tonight. I'll make some poems on love.
She writes and studies.
Out of a great curiosity, a shepherd did demand of me. No, a shepherd this implored of me.
Scratches out and writes anew.
Aye, so it shall go. Tell me, said he, can you resign, aye, what shall rhyme to resign? Tell me, said he.
She lays down the tablets and walks about. Harlequin peeps from under the table, takes the book, writes in it, and lays it up before she can turn. Bellemante reads.
Aye, so it shall be. Tell me, said he, my Bellemante, will you be kind to your Charmante?
Reads those 2 lines and is amazed.
Oh, heavens, what's this? I am amazed, and yet I'll venture once more.
Writes and studies.
I blushed and veiled my wishing eyes.
Lays down the book and walks as before.
Wishing eyes.
Harlequin writes as before. She turns and takes the tablet.
And answered only with my sighs? What is this? Witchcraft, or some divinity of love? Some Cupid sure invisible. Once more I'll try the charm.
Writes.
Could I a better way my love impart?
Studies and walks.
Impart.
Harlequin writes as before.
And without speaking, tell him all my heart. 'Tis here again, but where's the hand that writ it?
Looks about.
The little deity that will be seen but only in his miracles. It cannot be a devil, for he has no sin nor mischief in all this.
Enter Charmante. Bellemante hides the tablet. He steps to her and snatches it from her, and reads.
Out of a great curiosity, a shepherd this implored of me. Tell me, said he, my Bellemante, will you be kind to your Charmante? I blushed and veiled my wishing eyes, and answered only with my sighs. Could I a better way my love impart, and without speaking tell him all my heart?
Charmante looks angry.
Whose is this different character?
'Tis yours for aught I know.
Away, my name was put here for a blind. What rhyming fop have you been clubbing wit withal?
Ah, mon Dieu, Charmante jealous?
Have I not cause? Who writ these Boremus?
Some kind assisting deity for aught I know.
Some kind assisting coxcomb, that I know. The ink's yet wet. The spark is near, I find.
Ah, malheureuse, how was I mistaken in this man?
Mistaken? What, did you take me for an easy fool to be imposed upon? One that would be cuckolded by every feathered fool that you call a beau and galant homme? 'Sdeath! Who would dote upon a fond she-fop, a vain, conceited, amorous coquette?
Goes out. She pulls him back. Enters Scaramouche running.
Oh, madam, hide your lover, or we are all undone.
I will not hide till I know the thing that made the verses.
The doctor calling, as on the stairs.
Bellemante! Niece! Bellemante!
She's coming, sir! Where shall I hide him? Oh, the closet's open.
Thrusts him into the closet by force. Enter doctor.
Oh, niece, ill luck, ill luck. I must leave you tonight. My brother the advocate is sick, and has sent for me. 'Tis 3 long leagues, and dark as 'tis I must go. They say he is dying. Here, take my keys.
Pulls out his keys. One falls down.
And go into my study, and look over all my papers, and bring me all those marked with a cross, and figure of 3. They concern my brother and I.
She looks on Scaramouche and makes pitiful signs, and goes out.
Come, Scaramouche, and get me ready for my journey, and on your life let not a door be opened till my return.
Exeunt. Enter Mopsophill. Harlequin peeps from under the table.
Ah, Mopsophill, and alone.
Well, 'tis a delicious thing to be rich. What a world of lovers it invites. I have one for every hand, and the favourite for my lips.
Harlequin, peeping.
Aye, him would I be glad to know.
But of all my lovers, I am for the farmer's son, because he keeps a calash, and I'll swear a coach is the most agreeable thing about a man.
Ho, ho!
Ah, me! What's that?
The ghost of a poor lover dwindled into a hey-ho.
He rises from under the table and falls at her feet. Scaramouche enters. She runs off squeaking.
Ha! My rival and my mistress! Is this done like a man of honor, Monsieur Harlequin, to take advantages to injure me?
Draws.
Advantages are lawful in love and war.
'Twas contrary to our league and covenant. Therefore I defy thee as a traitor.
I scorn to fight with thee, because I once called thee brother.
Then thou art a poltroon, that's to say, a coward.
Coward? Nay, then I am provoked. Come on.
Pardon me, sir. I gave the coward, and you ought to strike.
They go to fight ridiculously, and ever as Scaramouche passes, Harlequin leaps aside, and skips so nimbly about he cannot touch him for his life, which after a while endeavouring in vain, he lays down his sword.
If you be for dancing, sir, I have my weapons for all occasions.
Scaramouche pulls out a flute ducks and falls to playing. Harlequin throws down his sword, and falls a dancing. After the dance, they shake hands.
Ah, mon bon ami, is not this better than duelling?
But not altogether so heroic, sir. Well, for the future, let us have fair play. No tricks to undermine each other, but which of us is chosen to be the happy man, the other shall be content.
Elaria, within.
Cousin Bellemante! Cousin!
Slife, let's be gone, lest we be seen in the lady's apartment.
Scaramouche slips Harlequin behind the door. Enter Elaria.
How now? How came you here?
Scaramouche signs to Harlequin to go out.
I came to tell you, madam, my master's just taking mule to go his journey tonight, and that Don Cinthio is in the street for a lucky moment to enter in.
But what if any one by my father's order or himself should by some chance surprise us?
If we be, I have taken order against a discovery. I'll go see if the old gentleman be gone and return with your lover.
Goes out.
I tremble, but I know not whether 'tis with fear or joy.
Enter Cinthio.
My dear Elaria.
Runs to embrace her. She starts from him.
Huh! Shun my arms, Elaria?
Heavens! Why did you come so soon?
Is it too soon? Whene'er 'tis safe, Elaria.
I die with fear. Met you not, Scaramouche? He went to bid you wait a while. What shall I do?
Why this concern? None of the house has seen me. I saw your father taking horse.
Sure you mistake. Methinks I hear his voice.
Doctor, below.
My key! The key of my laboratory! Why, knave Scaramouche, where are you?
Do you hear that, sir? Oh, I am undone. Where shall I hide you? He approaches.
She searches where to hide him.
Ha! My cousin's closet's open. Step in a little.
He goes in. She puts out the candle. Enter the doctor. She gets round the chamber to the door, and as he advances in, she steals out.
Here, I must have dropped it. A light there.
Enter Cinthio from the closet, pulls Charmante out, they not knowing each other.
Oh, this perfidious woman! No marvel she was so surprised and angry at my approach tonight.
Who can this be? But I'll be prepared.
Lays his hand on his sword.
Why, Scaramouche, knave, a light!
Turns to the door to call. Enters Scaramouche with a light, and seeing the two lovers there, runs against his master, puts out the candle, and flings him down and falls over him. At the entrance of the candle, Charmante slipped from Cinthio into the closet. Cinthio gropes to find him, when Musafil and Elaria, hearing a great noise, enter with a light. Cinthio, finding he was discovered, falls to acting a madman. Scaramouche helps up the doctor, and bows.
Ha! A man! And in my house! Oh, dire misfortune! Who are you, sir?
Men call me Gog Magog, the spirit of power. My right hand riches holds, my left hand honor. Is there a city wife who you'd be a lady? Bring her to me. Her easy cuckold shall be dubbed a knight.
Oh, heavens! A madman, sir!
Is there a tawdry fop who you'd have a title? A rich mechanic that who'd be an alderman? Bring him to me, and I'll convert that coxcomb and that blockhead into your honor and right worshipful.
Mad! Stark mad! Why, sirrah, rogue, Scaramouche! How got this madman in?
While the doctor turns to Scaramouche, Cinthio speaks softly to Elaria. Cinthio, aside to her,
Oh, thou perfidious maid, who hast thou hid in yonder conscious closet?
Why, sir, he was brought in a chair for your advice, but how he rambled from the parlour to this chamber I know not.
Upon a winged horse, yclept Pegasus, swift as the fiery racers of the sun, I fly, see how I mount and cut the liquid sky.
Runs out.
Alas, poor gentleman, he's past all cure. But, sirrah, for the future, take you care that no young mad patients be brought into my house.
I shall, sir, and see, here's your key you looked for.
That's well. I must be gone. Bar up the doors, and upon life or death let no man enter.
Exit doctor, and all with him, with a light. Charmante peeps out, and by degrees comes all out, listening every step.
Who the devil could that be that pulled me from the closet? But at last I'm free, and the doctor's gone. I'll to Cinthio, and bring him to pass this night with our mistresses.
Exit. As he is gone off, enter Cinthio, groping.
Now for this lucky rival, if his stars will make this last part of his adventure such. I hid myself in the next chamber till I heard the doctor go, only to return to be revenged.
He gropes his way into the closet with his sword drawn. Enter Elaria with a light.
Scaramouche tells me Charmante is concealed in the closet, whom Cinthio surely has mistaken for some lover of mine, and he is jealous. But I will send Charmante after him to make my peace and undeceive him.
Goes to the door.
Sir, where are you? They are all gone. You may adventure out.
Cinthio comes out.
Ha! Cinthio, here?
Yes, madam, to your shame. Now your perfidiousness is plain, false woman. Is well your lover had the dexterity of escaping. I'd have spoiled his making love else.
Goes from her. She holds him.
Prithee hear me.
But since my ignorance of his person saves his life, live and possess him, till I can discover him.
Goes out.
Go, peevish fool, whose jealousy believes me given to change. Let thy own torments be my just revenge.
Exit. The end of the first act. Act 2 of The Emperor of the Moon by Aphra Behn. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1, A Chamber in the Doctor's House. An antic dance. After the music has played, enter Elaria, to her Bellemante.
Heavens, Bellemante, where have you been?
Fatigued with the most disagreeable affair for a person of my humour in the world. Oh, how I hate business, which I do no more mind than a spark does the salmon who is ogling his mistress at church all the while. I have been ruffling over 20 reams of paper for my uncle's writings.
Enter Scaramouche.
So, the old gentleman has departed this wicked world, and the house is our own for this night. Where are the sparks? Where are the sparks?
Nay, heaven knows.
How? I hope not so. I left Charmante confined to my closet, when my uncle had liked to have surprised us together. Is he not here?
No, he's escaped, but has made sweet doings.
Heavens, cousin, what?
My father was coming into the chamber, and had like to have taken Cinthio with me, when, to conceal him, I put him in your closet, not knowing of Charmante's being there, and which in the dark he took for a gallant of mine. Had not my father's presence hindered, I believe there may have been murder committed. However, they both escaped unknown.
Pshaw, is that all? Lovers' quarrels are soon adjusted. I'll to 'em, unfold the riddle, and bring 'em back. Take no care, but go in and dress you for the ball. Mopsiphil has habits which your lover sent to put on. The fiddles, treat, and all are prepared.
Exit. Enter Mopsiphil.
Madam, your cousin Florinda, with a lady, are come to visit you.
I'm glad on't. 'Tis a good wench, and we'll trust her with our mirth and secret.
They go out. Scene 2 changes to the street. Enter Page with a flambeau, followed by a Cinthio. Passes over the stage. Scaramouche follows Cinthio in a campaign coat.
'Tis Cinthio, Don Cinthio.
Scaramouche calls. Cinthio turns.
Well, what's the quarrel? How fell ye out?
You may inform yourself, I believe, for these close intrigues cannot be carried on without your knowledge.
What intrigue, sir? Be quick, for I'm in haste.
Who was the lover I surprised in the closet?
Deceptio visus, sir, the error of the eyes.
Thou dog, I felt him too, but since the rascal 'scaped me, I'll be revenged on thee.
Goes to beat him. Scaramouche, running away, runs against Harlequin, who is entering with Charmante, and like to have thrown 'em both down.
Ha! What's the matter here?
Signor Don Charmante.
Then he struts courageously in with them.
What? Cinthio, in a rage? Who's the unlucky object?
All man and womankind, Elaria's false.
Elaria false? Take heed. Sure her nice virtue is proof against the vices of her sex. Say rather Bellemante, she who by nature's light and wavering, the town contains not such a false impertinent. This evening I surprised her in her chamber, writing of verses, and between her lines some spark had newly penned his proper stuff. Curse of the jilt, I'll be her fool no more.
I doubt you are mistaken in that, sir, for 'twas I was the spark that writ the proper stuff to do you service.
Thou?
Aye, we that spend our lives and fortunes here to serve you, to be used like pimps and scoundrels. Come, sir, satisfy him who 'twas hid in the closet, when he came in and found you.
Ha! Is't possible? Was it Charmante?
Was it you, Cinthio? Pox on it. What fools are we? We could not know one another by instinct?
Well, dispute no more this clear case, but lest hasten to your mistress.
I'm ashamed to appear before Elaria.
And I to Bellemante.
Come, take heart of grace. Pull your hats down over your eyes, put your arms across, sigh and look scurvily. Your simple looks are ever a token of repentance. Come along.
Exeunt omnes. Scene 3. Changes to the inside of the house. The front of the scene is only a curtain or hangings, to be drawn up at pleasure. Enter Elaria, Bellemante, Mopsophil, Florinda, and ladies dressed in masking habits.
I am extremely pleased with these habits, cousin.
They are all Gothic and uncommune.
Your lovers have a very good fancy, cousin. I long to see 'em.
And so do I. I wonder Scaramouche stays so, and what success he has.
You have no cause to doubt. You can so easily acquit yourself. But what shall I do? Who can no more imagine who should write those poems than who I shall love next, if I break off with Charmante?
If he be a man of honor, cousin, when a maid protests her innocence.
Aye, but he's a man of wit too, cousin, and knows when women protest most, they likely lie most.
Most commonly, for truth needs no asseveration.
That's according to the disposition of your lover, for some believe you most when you most abuse and cheat 'em. Some are so obstinate they would damn a woman with protesting before she can convince them.
Such is not worth convincing. I would not make the world wise at the expense of a virtue.
Nay, he shall e'en remain as heaven made him for me, since there are men enough for all uses.
Enter Charmante and Cinthio, dressed in their Gothic habits, Scaramouche, Harlequin, and music. Charmante and Cinthio kneel.
Can you forgive us?
Elaria takes him up.
That, Cinthio, you're convinced, I do not wonder. But how Charmante is inspired, I know not.
Takes him up.
Let it suffice. I'm satisfied, my Bellemante.
Pray, no, my cousin Florinda.
They salute the lady.
Come, let us not lose time, since we are all friends.
The best use we can make of it is to talk of love.
Oh, we shall have time enough for that hereafter. Besides, you may make love in dancing as well as in sitting. You may gaze, sigh, and press the hand, and now and then receive a kiss. What would you more?
Yes, wish a little more.
We were unreasonable to forbid you that cold joy, nor shall you wish long in vain, if you bring matters so about to get us with my uncle's consent.
Our fortunes depending solely on his pleasure, which are too considerable to lose.
All things are ordered as I have written you at large. Our scenes and all our properties are ready. We have no more to do, but to banter the old gentleman into a little more faith, which the next visit of our new cabalist Charmante will complete.
The music plays. Enter some antics and dance. They all sit the while.
Your dancers have performed well, but 'twere fit we knew who we have trusted with this evening's intrigue.
Those, madam, who are to assist us in carrying on a greater intrigue, the gaining of you. They are our kinsmen.
Then they are doubly welcome.
Here is a song in dialogue, with flute dux and harpsichords, between a shepherd and shepherdess, which ended, they all dance a figure dance.
Hark! What noise is that? Sure 'tis in the next room.
Doctor, within.
Scaramouche! Scaramouche!
Scaramouche runs to the door and holds it fast.
Ha! The devil in the likeness of my old master's voice, for it is impossible it should be he himself.
If it be he, how got he in? Did you not secure the doors?
He always has a key to open them. Oh, what shall we do? There's no escaping him. is in the next room, through which you are to pass.
Doctor, within.
Scaramouche, knave, where are you?
'Tis he, follow me all.
He goes with all the company behind the front curtain. Doctor, within.
I tell you, sirrah, I heard the noise of fiddles.
Peter, within.
No, surely, sir, 'twas a mistake.
Knocking at the door. Scaramouche, having placed them all in a hanging, in which they make the figures, where they stand without motion in postures, he comes out. He opens the door with a candle in his hand. Enter the doctor and Peter with a light.
Bless me, sir, is it you or your ghost?
'Twere good for you, sir, if I were a thing of air, but as I am a substantial mortal, I will lay it on as substantially.
Canes Scaramouche. He cries.
What do ye mean, sir? What do ye mean?
Sirrah, must I stand waiting your leisure while you are roguing here? I will reward ye.
Beat Scaramouche.
Aye, and I shall deserve it richly, sir, when you know all.
I guess all, sirrah, and I heard all, and you shall be rewarded for all. Where have you hid the fiddles, you rogue?
Fiddles, sir?
Aye, fiddles, knave.
Fiddles, sir? Where?
Here, I heard 'em, thou false steward of thy master's treasure.
Fiddles, sir? Sure, 'twas wind got into your head and whistled in your ears riding so late, sir.
Aye, thou false varlet, there's another debt I owe thee for bringing me so damnable a lie. My brother's well. I met his valet but a league from town, and found thy roguery out.
Beats him. He cries.
Is this the reward I have for being so diligent since you went?
In what, thou villain, in what?
The curtain is drawn up, and discovers the hangings where all of them stand.
Why, look you, sir, I have, to surprise you with pleasure, against you came home, been putting up this piece of tapestry, the best in Italy, for the rareness of the figures, sir.
Ha, it is indeed a stately piece of work. How came I by 'em?
'Twas sent your reverence from the virtuoso, or some of the Kabbalists.
I must confess the workmanship is excellent, but still I do insist I heard the music.
'Twas then the tuning of the spheres, some serenade, sir, from the inhabitants of the moon.
From the moon, and that may be.
Lord, do you think I would deceive your reverence?
From the moon, a serenade. I see no signs on't here. Indeed, it must be so. I'll think on't more at leisure.
Aside.
Prithee, what store is this?
Looks on the hangings.
Why, sir, 'tis...
Hold up the candles higher and nearer.
Peter and Scaramouche hold candles near. The doctor takes a perspective and looks through it, and coming near a harlequin, who is placed in a tree in the hangings, Harlequin hits him on the head with his truncheon. The doctor starts and looks about. Harlequin sits still.
Sir?
What was that struck me?
Struck you, sir? Imagination.
Can my imagination feel, sirrah?
Oh, the most tenderly of any part about one, sir.
That may be.
Are you a great philosopher and know not that, sir?
The doctor, aside.
This fellow has a glimpse of profundity.
Looks again.
I like the figures well.
You will, when you see him by daylight, sir.
Harlequin hits him again. The doctor sees him.
Ha! Is that imagination too? Betrayed! Betrayed! Undone! Run for my pistols! Call up my servants! Peter, a plot upon my daughter and my niece!
The doctor runs out with Peter. Scaramouche puts out the candle. They come out of the hanging, which is drawn away. He places them in a row just at the entrance.
Here, fear nothing. Hold by each other, that when I go out, all may go. That is, slip out when you hear the doctors come in again, which he will certainly do, and all depart to your respective lodgings.
And leave thee to bear the brunt?
Take you no care for that. I'll put it into my bill of charges and be paid altogether.
Enter the doctor with pistols, and Peter.
What, by dark? That shall not save you, villains, traitors to my glory and repose. Peter, hold fast the door, let none escape.
They all slip out.
I'll warrant you, sir.
Doctor gropes about, stamps, and calls.
Lights, there, lights. I'm sure they could not escape.
Impossible, sir.
Enter Scaramouche, undressed in his shirt, with a light. He starts.
Bless me, what's here?
Ha! Who art thou?
Amazed to see him enter so.
I? Who the devil are you, and you go to that?
Rubs his eyes, and brings the candle nearer. Looks on him.
Mercy upon us! Why, what is it you, sir, returned so soon?
Returned?
Looks sometimes at Scaramouche, sometimes about.
Aye, sir, did you not go out of town last night to your brother the advocate?
Thou villain, thou questionest me, as if thou knewest not that I was returned.
I know, sir. How should I know? I'm sure I am just awakened from the sweetest dream.
You dream still, sirrah, but I shall wake your rogueship. Were you not here but now, showing me a piece of tapestry, you villain?
Tapestry?
Mopselphil, listening all the while.
Yes, rogue, yes, for which I'll have thy life.
Offering a pistol.
Are you stark mad, sir, or do I dream still?
Tell me, and tell me quickly, rogue, who are those traitors that were hid but now in the disguise of a piece of hangings?
Holds the pistol to his breast.
Bless me, you amaze me, sir. What conformity has every word you say to my rare dream? Pray, let me feel you, sir. Are you human?
You shall feel I am, sirrah, if thou confess not.
Confess, sir? What shall I confess? I understand not your Kabbalistic language, but in mine I confess that you waked me from the rarest dream, where methought the Emperor of the Moon World was in our house, dancing and revelling, and methought his grace was fallen desperately in love with Mistress Elaria, and that his brother, the prince, sir, of Thunderland, was also in love with Mistress Bellemante, and methought they descended to court him in your absence, and that at last you surprised him, and that they transformed themselves into a suit of hangings to deceive you. But at last methought you grew angry at something, and then they all fled to heaven again, and after a deal of thunder and lightning, I waked, sir, and hearing human voices here, I came to see what the matter was.
This, while the doctor lessens his signs of rage by degrees, and at last stands in deep contemplation.
May I credit this?
Credit it? By all the honor of your house, by my unseparable veneration of the mathematics? 'Tis true, sir.
That famous Rosicrucian who yesterday visited me and told me the Emperor of the Moon was in love with a fair mortal, this dream is inspiration in this fellow. He must have wondrous virtue in him to be worthy of these divine intelligences.
Aside.
But if that mortal should be Elaria, but no more, I dare not yet suppose it. Suppose the thing was real and no dream, for oftentimes the grosser part is hurried away in sleep by the force of imagination, and is wonderfully agitated. This fellow might be present in his sleep. Of this we've frequent instances. I'll go to my daughter and my niece, and hear what knowledge they may have of this.
Mopselphil, aside.
Will you so? I'll secure you the frolic shall go round.
Exit.
Scaramouche, if you have not deceived me in this matter, time will convince me farther. If it rest here, I shall believe you false.
Good, sir. Suspend your judgment and your anger till then.
I'll do it. Go back to bed.
Exit Doctor and Peter.
No, sir, 'tis morning now, and I'm up for all day. This madness is a pretty sort of pleasant disease when it tickles but in one vein. Why, here's my master now, as great a scholar, as grave and wise a man in all argument and discourse as can be met with. Yet name but the moon and he runs into ridicule and grows as mad as the wind. Well, doctor, if thou canst be madder yet, we'll find a medicine that shall cure your fit. Better than all Galanicus.
Goes out. Scene 4. Draws off to Bellemante's chamber. Discovers Elaria, Bellemante, and Mopsiphil in nightgowns.
You have your lessons. Stand to it bravely, and the town's our own, madam.
They put themselves in postures of sleeping, leaning on the table, Mopsiphil lying at their feet. Enter Doctor softly.
Not in bed? This gives me mortal fears.
Ah, Prince.
She speaks as in her sleep.
Prince.
Goes nearer and listens. Bellemante, in a feigned voice.
How little faith I give to all your courtship, who leaves our orb so soon.
Said she orb?
Goes nearer.
But since you are of a celestial race, and can easily penetrate into the utmost limits of the thought, why should I fear to tell you of your conquest, and thus implore your aid?
Rises and runs to the doctor, kneels and holds him fast. He shows signs of joy.
I am ravished.
Ah, Prince Divine, take pity on a mortal.
I am rapt.
And take me with you to the world above.
The moon she means. I am transported, overjoyed, and ecstasied.
Leaping and jumping from her hands, she seems to wake.
Ah, my uncle, come again to interrupt us.
Hide nothing from me, my dear Bellemante, since all already is discovered to me, and more.
Oh, why have you waked me from the softest dream that ever maid was blessed with?
What? My best Elaria?
Methought I entertain a demigod, one of the gay inhabitants of the moon.
I'm sure mine was no dream. I waked, I heard, I saw, I spoke, and danced to the music of the spheres, and methought my glorious lover tied a diamond chain about my arm, and see, 'tis all substantial.
Shows her arm.
And mine a ring of more than mortal lustre.
Heaven keep me moderate, lest excess of joy should make my virtue less.
Stifling his joy.
There is a wonderful mystery in this. A mighty blessing does attend your fates. Go in and pray to the chaste powers above to give you virtue for such rewards.
They go in.
How this agrees with what the learned Kabbalist informed me of last night. He said that great Iridonazor, the emperor of the moon, was enamoured on a fair mortal. It must be so, and either he descended to court my daughter personally, which, for the rareness of the novelty, she takes to be a dream, or else what they and I beheld was visionary, by way of a sublime intelligence, and possibly 'tis only thus. The people of that world converse with mortals. I must be satisfied in this main point of deep philosophy. I'll to my study, for I cannot rest, till this weighty mystery have discussed.
Exit very gravely. Scene 5. The garden. Enter Scaramouche with a ladder.
Though I am come off in cavalier with my master, I am not with my mistress, who I promised to console this night, and 'tis but just I should make good this morning. 'Twill be rude to surprise her sleeping, and more gallant to wake her with the serenade at her window.
Sets the ladder to her window. Fetches his lute and goes up the ladder. He plays and sings this song.
When maidens are young and in their spring, of pleasure, let 'em take their full swing, full swing, full swing, and love and dance and play and sing. For Sylvia, believe it, when youth is done, there's naught but humdrum, humdrum, humdrum. There's naught but humdrum, humdrum, humdrum. Then Sylvia, be wise, be wise, be wise. Though painting and dressing for a while are supplies, and may surprise, but when the fire's going in your eyes, it twinkles, it twinkles, it twinkles and dies. And then to hear love from you, I'd as live hear an owl cry, wit to woo, wit to woo, wit to woo.
Enter Mopsiphil above.
What woeful ditty making mortals this, that ere the lark her early note has sung, does doleful love beneath my casement thrum? Ha! Signor Scaramouche, is it you?
Who should it be that takes such pains to sue?
Ah, lover most true blue.
Enter Harlequin in woman's clothes.
If I can now but get admittance, I shall not only deliver the young ladies their letters from their lovers, but get some opportunity, in this disguise, to slip this billet-doux into Mopsiphil's hand, and bob my comrade Scaramouche. Ah, what do I see? My mistress at the window, courting my rival. Ah, gypsy.
But we lose precious time, since you design me a kind hour in your chamber.
Oh, traitor.
You'll be sure to keep it from Harlequin.
Ah, yes, he, hang him, fool. He takes you for a saint.
Harlequin? Hang him, shotten herring!
Aye, a cully, a noddy.
A mere zany.
Ah, hard-hearted Turk.
Fit for nothing but a cuckold.
Monster of ingratitude, how shall I be revenged?
Scaramouche going over the balcony. Harlequin cries out in a woman's voice,
Hold, hold, thou perjured traitor!
Ah, discovered! A woman in the garden!
Come down, thou false perfidious wretch!
Who in the devil's name art thou, and to whom dost thou speak?
To thee, that false deceiver, thou hast broke thy vows, thy lawful vows of wedlock.
crying,
Oh, that I should live to see the day.
Who mean you, woman?
Whom should I mean but thou, my lawful spouse?
Oh, villain! Lawful spouse! Let me come to her!
Scaramouche comes down as Mopsiphil flings out of the balcony.
The woman's mad! Hark ye, jade, how long have you been thus distracted?
E'er since I loved and trusted thee, false varlet. See here the witness of my love and shame.
Bawls and points to her belly. Just then Mopsiphil enters.
How? With child? Out, villain! Was I made a property?
Hear me.
Oh, thou heathen Christian, was not one woman enough?
Aye, sirrah, answer to that.
I shall be sacrificed.
I am resolved to marry tomorrow, either to the apothecary or the farmer, man I never saw, to be revenged on thee, thou termagant infidel.
Doctor enters.
What noise, what outcry, what tumult's this?
Ah, the doctor. What shall I do?
Gets to the door. Scaramouche pulls her in.
A woman? Some board, I'm sure. Woman, what's your business here? Ha!
I came, and like your seniorship, to Madame the Gouvernante here, to serve her in the quality of a fille de chambre to the young ladies.
A fille de chambre. 'Tis so, a she-pimp.
Ah, seigneur.
Makes his little dapper leg instead of a curtsy.
How now, what? Do you mock me?
Oh, seigneur.
Gets nearer the door.
Stay, mistress. And what service are you able to do the signor's daughters?
Is this Signor Dr. Baliardo, madame?
Yes.
Oh, he's a very handsome gentleman, indeed.
Aye, aye, what service can you do, mistress?
Why, Seigneur, I can tie a cravat the best of any person in Naples, and I can comb a periwig, and I can...
A very proper service for young ladies. You, I believe, have been fille de chambre to some young cavaliers?
Most true, Seigneur. Why should not the cavaliers keep filles de chambre, as well as great ladies, valets de chambre?
Indeed, 'tis equally reasonable.
Aside.
'Tis a board. But have you never served ladies?
Oh, yes, I'd serve a parson's wife.
Is that a great lady?
Aye, surely, sir. What is she else? For she wore her mantuas of brocade d'or, petticoats laced up to the gathers, her points, her patches, paints and perfumes, and sat in the uppermost place in the church, too.
But have you never served countesses and duchesses?
Oh, yes, madame. The last I served was an alderman's wife in the city.
Was that a countess or a duchess?
Aye, certainly, for they have all the money. And then for clothes, jewels, and rich furniture, and eating, they outdo the very Viceroy herself.
This is a very ignorant running board. Therefore, first search her for billets doux, and then have her pumped.
Ah, Seigneur, Seigneur.
Scaramouche searches him, finds letters.
Ha! To Elaria and Bellemante.
Reads the outside, pops them into his bosom.
These are from their lovers. Ha! A note to Mopsiphil. Oh, rogue! Have I found you?
If you have, 'tis but trick for your trick, Seigneur Scaramouche, and you may spare the pumping.
For once, sirrah, I'll bring you off and deliver your letters. Sir, do you not know who this is? Why, 'tis a rival of mine, who put on this disguise to cheat me of Mistress Mopsiphil. See, here's a billet to her.
What is he?
A mongrel dancing master. Therefore, sir, since all the injury's mine, I'll pardon him for a dance, and let the agility of his heels save his bones. With your permission, sir.
With all my heart, and I'm glad he comes off so comically.
Harlequin dances. A knocking at the gate. Scaramouche goes, and returns.
Sir, here's the rare philosopher who was here yesterday.
Give him entrance, and all depart.
Enter Charmante.
Blessed be those stars that first conducted me to so much worth and virtue. You are their darling, sir, for whom they wear their brightest lustre. Your fortune is established. You are made, sir.
Let me contain my joy.
Keeping in an impatient joy.
May I be worthy, sir, to apprehend you?
After long searching, watching, fasting, praying, and using all the virtuous means in nature, whereby we solely do attain the highest knowledge in philosophy, it was resolved, by strong intelligence, you were the happy sire of that bright nymph that had fascinated, charmed, and conquered the mighty Emperor Iridonazor, the monarch of the moon.
Doctor, aside.
I am undone with joy, ruined with transport.
Stifling his joy, which breaks out.
Can it, sir, be possible?
Receive the blessing, sir, with moderation.
I do, sir, I do.
This very night, by their great art, they find he will descend and shew himself in glory, an honour, sir, no mortal has received this 60 years.
say you so, sir? No emperor ever descend this 60 years?
Looks sad. Aside.
Was I deceived last night?
Oh, yes, sir, often in disguise, in several shapes and forms, which did of old occasion so many fabulous tales of all the shapes of Jupiter, but never in their proper glory, sir, as emperors. This is an honour only designed to you.
And will his grace be here in person, sir?
In person, and with him. A man of mighty quality, sir. 'Twas thought the Prince of Thunderland, but that's but whispered, sir, in the cabal, and that he loves your niece.
Miraculous! How this agrees with all I've seen and heard. To-night, you say, sir?
'Tis so conjectured, sir. Some of the Kabbalists are of the opinion that last night there was some sally from the moon.
About what hours, sir?
The meridian of the night, sir. About the hours of 12 or 1. But who descended or in what shape is yet uncertain.
This I believe, sir.
Why, sir?
May I communicate a secret of that nature?
To any of the Kabbalists, but none else.
Then no. Last night my daughter and my niece were entertained by those illustrious heroes.
Who, sir? The Emperor and Prince his cousin?
Most certain, sir, but whether they appeared in solid bodies or phantomical is yet a question, for at my unlucky approach they all transformed themselves into a piece of hangings.
'Tis frequent, sir. Their shapes are numerous, and 'tis also in their power to transform all they touch, by virtue of a certain stone they call the ebula.
That wondrous ebula which Gonzales had?
The same, by virtue of which all weight was taken from him, and then with ease the lofty traveller flew from Parnassus Hill, and from Hymettus Mount, and high Gerania, and Acrocorinthus, thence to Taygetus, so to Olympus' top, from whence he had but one step to the moon. Dizzy he grants he was.
No wonder, sir. O happy great Gonzales!
Your virtue, sir, will render you as happy, but I must make haste this night. Prepare your daughter and your niece, and let your house be dressed, perfumed, and clean.
It shall be all performed, sir.
Be modest, sir, and humble in your elevation, for nothing shews the wit so poor as wonder, nor birth so mean as pride.
I humbly thank your admonition, sir, and shall, in all I can, struggle with human frailty.
Bring Charmante to the door, bare. Exeunt. Enter Scaramouche, peeping at the other door.
So, all things go gloriously forward, but my own amour, and there is no convincing this obstinate woman that 'twas the rogue Harlequin in disguise claimed me. So I cannot so much as come to deliver the young ladies their letters from their lovers. I must get in with this damned mistress of mine, or all our plot will be spoiled for want of intelligence. The devil does not use to fail me at a dead lift. I must deliver these letters, and I must have this wench. Though but to be revenged on her for abusing me, let me see. She is resolved for the apothecary or the farmer. Well, say no more, honest Scaramouche. Thou shalt find a friend at need of me, and if I do not fit you with a spouse, say that a woman has outwitted me.
Exit. The end of the second act. Act 3 of The Emperor of the Moon by Aphra Behn. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1, the street with the town gate, where an officer stands with a staff like a London constable. Enter Harlequin riding in a calash, comes through the gate toward the stage, dressed like a gentleman sitting in it. The officer lays hold of his horse.
Hold, hold, sir. You, I suppose, know the customs that are due to this city of Naples from all persons that pass the gates in coach, chariot, calash, au siège volant?
I am not ignorant of the custom, sir, but what's that to me?
Not to you, sir. Why, what privilege have you above the rest?
Privilege for what, sir?
Why, for passing, sir, with any of the before-named carriages.
Art mad? Dost not see I am a plain baker, and this is my cart that comes to carry bread for the Viceroy's and the city's use, huh?
Are you mad, sir, to think I cannot see a gentleman farmer and a calash from a baker and a cart?
Drunk by this day, and so early too. Oh, you're a special officer. Unhand my horse, sirrah, or you shall pay for all the damage you do me.
Hey day, here's a fine cheat upon the Viceroy. Sir, pay me, or I'll seize your horse.
Harlequin strikes him. They scuffle a little.
Nay, and you be so brisk, I'll call the clerk from his office. Mr. Clerk! Mr. Clerk!
Goes to the entrance to call the clerk. The meantime, Harlequin whips a frock over himself, and puts down the hind part of the chariot, which then 'tis a cart. Enter clerk.
What's the matter here?
Here's a fellow, sir, will persuade me his calash is a cart, and refuses the customs for passing the gate.
A calash? Where? I see only a carter and his cart.
The officer looks on him.
What a devil! Was I blind?
Mr. Clark, I am a baker that came with bread to sell, and this fellow here has stopped me this hour and made me lose the sale of my ware. And being drunk will outface me. I am a farmer, and this cart a calash.
He's in an error, friend. Pass on.
No, sir, I'll have satisfaction first, or the Viceroy shall know how he's served by drunken officers that are a nuisance to a civil government.
What do you demand, friend?
Demand? I demand a crown, sir.
This is very hard. Mr. Clerk, if ever I saw in my life, I thought I saw a gentleman and a calash.
Come, gratify him, and see better hereafter.
Here, sir, if I must, I must.
Gives him a crown.
Pass on, friend.
Exit clerk. Harlequin, unseen, puts up the back of his calash and whips off his frock, and goes to drive on. The officer looks on him and stops him again.
I'll swear it is a calash. Mr. Clerk! Mr. Clerk! Come back! Come back!
Runs out to call him. Harlequin changes as before. Enter officer and clerk.
Come, sir. Let your own eyes convince you, sir.
Convince me? Of what, you sot?
This is a gentleman, and that,
Looks about on Harlequin.
Stark drunk. Sirrah, if you trouble me at every mistake of yours thus, you shall quit your office.
I beg your pardon, sir. I am a little in drink, I confess. A little blind and mad. Sir, this must be the devil, that's certain.
The clerk goes out. Harlequin puts up his calash again, and pulls off his frock, and drives out.
Well, now to my thinking, 'tis as plain a calash again as ever I saw in my life, and yet I am satisfied 'tis nothing but a cart.
Exit. Scene 2. Changes to the doctor's house. The hall. Enter Scaramouche in a chair, which is set down and opened on all sides, and on the top represents an apothecary's shop, the inside being painted with shelves and rows of pots and bottles. Scaramouche sitting in it, dressed in black, with a short black cloak, a ruff, and a little hat.
The devil's in it, if either the doctor, my master, or Mopsiphil know me in this disguise. And thus I may not only gain my mistress and outwit Harlequin, but deliver the ladies those letters from their lovers, which I took out of his pocket this morning, and who would suspect an apothecary for a pimp? nor can the jade Mopsiphil in honor refuse a person of my gravity so well set up.
Pointing to his shop. Enter the doctor.
The doctor here first. This is not so well, but I'm prepared with impudence for all encounters.
Scaramouche salutes him gravely.
Most Reverend Dr. Baliardo.
Bows.
Senor.
Bows.
I might, through great pusillanimity, blush to give you this anxiety. Did not I opine you were as gracious, as communicative, and eminent? And though you have no cognizance of me, your humble servant, yet I have of you, you being so gravely famed for your admirable skill, both in Galenical and Periclesian phenomena, and other approved felicities in vulnary emetics and purgative experiences.
Senor, your opinion honours me. Rare man this.
And though I am at present busied in writing those few observations I have accumulated in my peregrinations, sir, yet the ambition I aspired to of being an ocular and aureal witness of your singularity made me trespass on your sublimer affairs.
Senor!
Besides a violent inclination, sir, of being initiated into the denomination of your learned family by the conjugal circumference of a matrimonial tie with that singularity accomplished person, madam, the gouvernante of your hostel...
Doctor, aside.
A sweetheart for Mopsiphil?
And if I may obtain your condescension to my hymeneal propositions, I doubt not my operation with the fair one.
Senor, she's much honoured in the overture, and my abilities shall not be wanting to fix the concord. But have you been a traveller, sir?
Without circumlocution, sir, I have seen all the regions beneath the sun and moon.
Moon, sir? You never travelled thither, sir?
Not in propria persona, senor, but by speculation. I have, and made most considerable remarks on that incomparable terra firma, of which I have the completest map in Christendom, and by which Gonzalez himself omitted in his Cosmographia of the lunar mundus.
A map of the lunar mundus, sir? May I crave the honour of seeing it?
You shall, sir, together with a map of terra incognita, a great rarity indeed, sir.
Jewels, sir, worth a king's ransom.
Enter Bellemante.
What figure of a thing have we here, bantering my credulous uncle? This must be some scout sent from our forlorn hope to discover the enemy and bring in fresh intelligence. That wink tipped me some tidings, and she deserves not a good look, who understands not the language of the eyes. Sir, dinner's on the table.
Let it wait. I am employed.
She creeps to the other side of Scaramouche, who makes signs with his hand to her.
'Tis so. This fellow has some novel for us, some letter or instructions, but how to get it?
As Scaramouche talks to the doctor, he takes the letters by degrees out of his pocket, and unseen, given him Bellemante behind him.
But this map, senor, I protest you have filled me with curiosity. Has it signified all things so exactly, say you?
Omitted nothing, senor. No city, town, village, or villa. No castle, river, bridge, lake, spring, or mineral.
Are there, sir, of those admirable mineral waters there, so frequent in our world?
In abundance, sir. The famous Garamantine, a young Italian, sir, lately come from thence, gives an account of an excellent Scaturgio that has lately made an ebullition there, in great reputation with the lunary ladies.
Indeed, sir. Be pleased, senor, to solve me some queries that may enode some appearances of the virtue of the water you speak of.
Scaramouche, aside.
Pox upon him, what questions he asked! But I must on. Why, sir, you must know, the tincture of this water upon stagnation ceruleates, and the crocus upon the stones flavices. This he observes to be, sir, the indication of a generous water.
Doctor, gravely nodding.
Now, sir, be pleased to observe the three regions. If they be bright, without doubt Mars is powerful. If the middle region or camera be pallid, Filia Solis is breeding. And then the third region, if the faces be volatile, the birth will soon come in balneo. This I observed in the laboratory of that ingenious chemist Lycidono, and with much pleasure am diverted that mineral of the same zenith and nadir, of that now famous water in England, near that famous metropolis called Ilsington.
Senor.
For, sir, upon the infusion, the crow's head immediately procures the seal of Hermes, and had not Lac Virginis been so soon sucked up, I believe we might have seen the consummation of amalgama.
Bellemante, having got her letters, goes off. She makes signs to Scaramouche to stay a little. He nods.
Most likely, sir.
But, sir, this Garamantine relates the strangest operation of a mineral in the lunar world that I ever heard of.
As how, I pray, sir?
Why, sir, a water impregnated to a circulation with prima matera, upon my honor, sir, the strongest I ever drank of.
How, sir, did you drink of it?
I only speak the words of Garamantine, sir.
Aside.
Pox on him, I shall be trapped.
Cry mercy, sir.
Bows.
The lunary physicians, sir, call it urinium volcani. It calibrates everyone's excrements more or less according to the greatest of the natural calar. To my knowledge, sir, a smith of a very fiery constitution is grown very opulent by drinking these waters.
How, sir? Grown rich by drinking the waters, and to your knowledge?
The devil's in my tongue. To my knowledge, sir, for what a man of honor relates, I may safely affirm.
Excuse me, senor.
Pulls off his hat again, gravely.
For, sir, conceive me how he grew rich. Since he drank those waters, he never buys any iron, but hammers it out of Stercus Proprius.
Enter Bellemante with a billet.
Sir, 'tis 3 o'clock, and dinner will be cold.
Goes behind Scaramouche, and gives him the note, and goes out.
I come, sweetheart, but this is wonderful.
Aye, sir, and if at any time nature prove too infirm, he prove costive. He has no more to do but apply a lodestone ad annum.
Is't possible?
Most true, sir, and that facilitates the journey per viscera. But I detain you, sir. Another time, sir. I will now only beg the honor of a word or two with the governante before I go.
Sir, she shall wait on you, and I shall be proud of the honor of your conversation.
Exit Doctor. Enter Harlequin, dressed like a farmer, as before.
What have we here? A tailor or a tumbler?
Ha! Who's this? What if it should be the farmer that the doctor has promised Mopsiphil to? My heart misgives me.
They look at each other a while.
Who would you speak with, friend?
This is perhaps my rival, the apothecary. Speak with, sir? Why, what's that to you?
Have you affairs with Signor Doctor, sir?
It may be I have, it may be I have not. What then, sir?
While they seem in angry dispute, enter Mopsiphil.
Signor Doctor tells me I have a lover waits me. Sure, it must be the farmer or the apothecary, no matter which. So a lover, that welcomest man alive. I am resolved to take the first good offer, though but in revenge of Harlequin and Scaramouche for putting tricks on me. Ha! 2 of 'em?
My mistress here.
They both bow and advance, putting each other by.
Hold, gentlemen. Do not worry me. Which of you'd speak with me?
I, madam.
Both of you?
No, madam. I.
If both lovers, you are both welcome. But let's have fair play and take your turns to speak.
Aye, signor. 'Tis most uncivil to interrupt me.
And disingenuous, sir, to intrude on me.
Putting one another by.
Then let me speak first.
I'm dumb.
I acquiesce.
I was informed there was a person here had propositions of marriage to make me.
That's I.
Shoves Scaramouche away.
And I attend to that consequential thinny.
Shoves Harlequin away.
I know not what you mean by your finis, Signor, but I am coming to offer myself this gentlewoman's servant, her lover, her husband, her dog in a halter, or anything.
Him I pronounce a poltroon, and an ignominious utensil that dare lay claim to the renowned lady of my primum mobile, that is, my best affections.
I fear not your hard words, sir, but dare allowed to pronounce, if Donna Mopsaville like me, the farmer, as well as I like her, 'tis a match, and my chariot's ready at the gate to bear her off, d'ye see.
Mopsaville, aside.
Ah, how that chariot pleads!
And I pronounce that being intoxicated with the sweet eyes of this refulgent lady, I come to tender her my noblest particulars, being already most advantageously set up with the circumstantial implements of my occupation.
Points to the shop.
A city apothecary, a most genteel calling. Which shall I choose? Signor Apothecary, I'll not expostulate the circumstantial reasons that have occasioned me this honour.
Incomparable lady, the elegancy of your repartees most excellently denotes the profundity of your capacity.
What the devil's all this? Good Mr. Conjurer, stand by, and don't fright the gentlewoman with your elegant profundities.
Puts him by.
How, a conjurer? I will chastise thy vulgar ignorance, that eclipse a philosopher a conjurer.
Philosophers? Prithee, if thou be'st a man, speak like a man, then.
Why, what do I speak like? What do I speak like?
What do you speak like? Why, you speak like a wheelbarrow.
How?
And how?
They come up close together at half-sword parry, stare on each other for a while, then put up and bow to each other civilly.
That's well, gentlemen, let's have all peace, while I survey you both and see which likes me best.
She goes between them and surveys them both, they making ridiculous bows on both sides and grimaces the while.
Ha! Now on my conscience, my two foolish lovers, Harlequin and Scaramouche, how are my hopes defeated? But faith, I'll fit you both.
She views them both. Scaramouche, aside.
So she's considering still. I shall be the happy dog.
Harlequin, aside.
She's taking aim. She cannot choose but like me best.
Scaramouche, bowing and smiling.
Well, madam, how does my person propagate?
Faith, signor, now I look better on you. I do not like your physiognomy so well as your intellects. You discovering some circumstantial symptoms that ever denote a villainous inconstancy?
Ah, are you pleased, madam?
You are mistaken, signor. I am displeased at your grey eyes and black eyebrows and beard. I never knew a man with those signs true to his mistress or his friend. And I would sooner wed that scoundrel Scaramouche, that very civil pimp, that mere pair of chemical bellows that blow the doctor's projecting fires, that deputy urinal shaker, that very Guzman of Salamanca, than a fellow of your infallible signum malus.
Ha ha ha, you have your answer, Signor Friskin, and may shut up your shop and be gone. Ha ha ha.
Scaramouche, aside.
Sure the jade knows me.
And as for you, signor.
Harlequin, bowing and smiling.
Ha, madam.
Those lanthorn jaws of yours, with that most villainous sneer and grin, and a certain fierce air of your eyes that looks altogether most fanatically, which with your notorious way-beard are certain signs of knavery and cowardice. Therefore, I'd rather wed that spider Harlequin, that skeleton buffoon, that ape of man, that Jack of Lent, that very top, that's of no use but when 'tis whipped and lashed. That piteous property I'd rather wed than thee.
A very fair declamation.
You understand me. And so adieu, sweet Glisterpipe and Signor Dirty Boots.
Runs out. Harlequin and Scaramouche stand looking simply on each other, without speaking a while. Scaramouche, aside.
That I should not know that rogue Harlequin.
Harlequin, aside.
That I should take this fool for a physician. How long have you commenced apothecary, senor?
Ever since you turned farmer. Are you not a damned rogue to put these tricks upon me and most dishonorably break all articles between us?
And are not you a damned son of a something to break articles with me?
No more words, sir. No more words. I find it must come to actions. Draw.
Draws.
Draw? So I can draw, sir.
Draws. They make a ridiculous cowardly fight. Enter the doctor, which, they seeing, come on with more courage. He runs between, and with his cane beats the swords down.
Hold, hold! What mean you, gentlemen?
Let me go, sir. I am provoked beyond measure, sir.
You must excuse me, senor.
Parleys with Harlequin. Scaramouche, aside.
I dare not discover the fool for his master's sake, and it may spoil our intrigue anon. Besides, he'll then discover me, and I shall be discarded for bantering the doctor. Man of honor to be so basely affronted here.
The doctor comes to appease Scaramouche.
Should I discover this rascal, he would tell the old gentleman I was the same that attempted his house today in women's clothes, and I should be kicked and beaten most insatiably.
What, senor, for a man of parts to be imposed upon and whipped through the lungs here, like a mountebank zany for sham cures. Mr. Doctor, I must tell you, 'tis not civil.
I'm extremely sorry for it, sir, and you shall see how I will have this fellow handled for the affront to a person of your gravity, and in my house. Here, Pedro.
Enter Pedro.
Take this intruder, or bring some of your fellows hither, and toss him in a blanket.
Exit Pedro. Harlequin going to creep away, Scaramouche holds him. Harlequin, aside to Scaramouche.
Hark ye, bring me off, or I'll discover all your intrigue.
Let me alone.
I'll warrant you some rogue that has some plot on my niece and daughter.
No, no, sir, he comes to impose the grossest lie upon you that was ever heard of.
Enter Pedro with others, with a blanket. They put Harlequin into it and toss him.
Hold, I'll confess all, rather than endure it.
Hold! What will you confess, sir?
Harlequin comes out, makes sick faces.
That he's the great impostor in nature. Would you think it, sir? He pretends to be no less than an ambassador from the Emperor of the Moon, sir.
Huh! Ambassador from the Emperor of the Moon?
Pulls off his hat.
Aye, sir. Thereupon I laughed. Thereupon he grew angry. I laughed at his resentment, and thereupon we drew, and this was the high quarrel, sir.
Ambassador from the Moon?
Pauses.
I have brought you off. Manage him as well as you can.
Brought me off, yes, out of the frying pan into the fire. Why, how the devil shall I act an ambassador?
It must be so, for how should either of these know I expected that honour?
He addresses Harlequin with profound civility.
Sir, if the figure you make, approaching so near ours of this world, have made us commit any undecent indignity to your high character, you ought to pardon the frailty of our mortal education and ignorance, having never before been blessed with the dissension of any from your world.
Harlequin, aside.
What the devil shall I say now? I confess I am, as you may see by my garb, sir, a little incognito, because the public message I bring is very private, which is that the mighty Iridanosor, Emperor of the Moon, with his most worthy brother, the Prince of Thunderland, intend to sup with you tonight. Therefore be sure you will get good wine. Though, by the way, let me tell you, 'tis for the sake of your fair daughter.
I'll leave the rogue to his own management. I presume by your whispering, sir, you would be private, and humbly begging pardon, take my leave.
Exit.
You have it, friend. Does your niece and daughter drink, sir?
Drink, sir?
Aye, sir, drink hard.
Do the women of your world drink hard, sir?
According to their quality, sir, more or less. The greater the quality, the more profuse the quantity.
Why, that's just as 'tis here, but your men of quality, your statesmen, sir, I presume they are sober, learned, and wise?
Faith, no, sir. But they are, for the most part, what's as good, very proud and promising, sir, most liberal with their word to every fawning suitor, to purchase the state of long attendance, and cringing as they pass. But the devil of a performance without you get the knack of bribing in the right place and time, but yet they all defy it, sir.
Just as 'tis here. But pray, sir, how do these great men live with their wives?
Most nobly, sir. My lord keeps his coach, my lady hers. My lord his bed, my lady hers. And very rarely see one another, unless they chance to meet in a visit in the park, the mall, the tour, or at the basset table, where they civilly salute and part, he to his mistress, she to play.
Good lack, just as 'tis here.
Where, if she chance to lose her money, rather than give out, she borrows of the next amorous coxcomb, who from that minute hopes, and he's sure to be paid again one way or the other, the next kind opportunity.
Just as 'tis here.
As for the young fellows that have money, they have no mercy upon their own persons, but wearing nature off as fast as they can, swear and whore and drink, and borrow as long as any rooking citizen will lend, till, having dearly purchased the heroic title of a bully or a sharper, they live pitied of their friends, and despised by their whores, and depart this transitory world diverse and sundry ways.
Just as 'tis here.
As for the citizen, sir, the courtier lies with his wife. He, in revenge, cheats him of his estate, till rich enough to marry his daughter to a courtier, again gives him all, unless his wife's over-gallantry breaks him, and thus the world runs round.
The very same 'tis here. Is there no preferment, sir, for men of parts and merit?
Parts and merit? What's that? A livery, or the handsome tying of a cravat? For the great men prefer none but their footmen and valets.
By my troth, just as 'tis here. Sir, I find you are a person of most profound intelligence. Under favour, sir, are you a native of the moon or this world?
The devil's in him for hard questions. I am a Neapolitan, sir.
Sir, I honour you. Good luck, my countryman. How got you to the region of the moon, sir?
A plaguy inquisitive old fool. Why, sir, pox on it, what shall I say? I being one day in amusing melancholy walking by the seaside, there arose, sir, a great mist by the sun's exhaling of the vapours of the earth, sir.
Right, sir.
In this fog or mist, sir, I was exhaled.
The exhalations of the sun drew you to the moon, sir?
I am condemned to the blanket again. I say, sir, I was exhaled up, but in my way, being too heavy, was dropped into the sea.
How, sir, into the sea?
The sea, sir, where the Emperor's fisherman, casting his nets, drew me up and took me for a strange and monstrous fish, sir, and as such presented me to his mightiness, who, going to have me spitchcocked for his own eating...
How, sir, eating?
What did me I, sir, life being sweet, but fall on my knees and besought his gloriousness not to eat me, for I was no fish, but a man. He asked me of what country. I told him of Naples, whereupon the Emperor overjoyed asked me if I knew that most reverend and learned Doctor Baliardo and his fair daughter. I told him I did, whereupon he made me his bedfellow and the confidant of his amour to Signora Elaria.
Bless me, sir, how came the Emperor to know my daughter?
There he is again with his damn hard questions. Know her, sir? Why, you were walking abroad one day.
My daughter never goes abroad, sir, further than our garden.
Aye, there it was indeed, sir. And as his Highness was taking a survey of this lower world, through a long perspective, sir, he saw you and your daughter and niece, and from that very moment fell most desperately in love.
A strange noise is heard of brass kettles and pans and bells, and many tinkling things.
But hark! The sound of timbrels, kettle drums, and trumpets. The Emperor, sir, is on his way. Prepare for his reception.
I'm in a rapture. How shall I pay my gratitude for this great negotiation? But, as I may, I humbly offer, sir...
Presents him with a rich ring and a purse of gold.
Sir, as an honour done to the Emperor, I take your ring and gold. I must go to meet his Highness.
Takes leave. Enter Scaramouche as himself.
Oh, sir, we are astonished with the dreadful sound of the sweetest music that ever mortal heard, but know not whence it comes. Have you not heard it, sir?
Heard it? Yes, fool. 'Tis the music of the spheres. The Emperor of the moon world is descending.
How, sir, no marvel then that looking towards the south I saw such splendid glories in the air.
Ha! Saw'st thou aught descending in the air?
Oh, yes, sir, wonders. Haste to the old gallery, whence, with the help of your telescope, you may discover all.
I would not lose a moment for the lower universe.
Enter Elaria, Bellemante, Mopsiphil, dressed in rich antic habits.
Sir, we are dressed as you commanded us. What is your farther pleasure?
It well becomes the honour you're designed for, this night to wed two princes. Come with me, and know your happy fate.
Exit Doctor and Scaramouche.
Bless me! My father in all the rest of his discourse shows so much sense and reason. I cannot think him mad, but feigns all this to try us.
Not mad? Marry, heavens forbid! Thou art always creating fears to startle one. Why, if he be not mad, his want of sleep this 48 hours, the noise of strange unheard-of instruments, with the fantastic splendour of the unusual sight, will so turn his brain and dazzle him, that in grace and goodness he may be mad if he be not. Come, let's after him to the gallery, for I long to see in what showing equipage our princely lovers will address to us.
Exeunt. Scene 3. The last. The gallery richly adorned with scenes and lights. Enter Doctor, Elaria, Bellemante, and Mopsiphil. Soft music is heard.
Oh, heavens, what's here? What palace is this? No part of our house, I'm sure.
'Tis rather the apartment of some monarch.
I'm all amazement too, but must not show my ignorance. Yes, Elaria, this is prepared to entertain 2 princes.
Are you sure on't, sir? Are we not, think you, in that world above I often heard you speak of? In the moon, sir?
Doctor, aside.
How shall I resolve her? For aught I know, we are.
Sure, sir, 'tis some enchantment.
Let not thy female ignorance profane the highest mysteries of natural philosophy. To fools it seems enchantment, but I've a sense can reach it. Sit and expect the event. Hark! I am amazed, but must conceal my wonder, that joy of fools, and appear wise in gravity.
Whence comes this charming sound, sir?
From the spheres. It is familiar to me.
The scene in the front draws off, and shows the hill of Parnassus, a noble large walk of trees leading to it, and 8 or 10 negroes upon pedestals, ranged on each side of the walks. Next Kepler and Galileus descend on each side, opposite to each other in chariots, with perspectives in their hands, as viewing the machine of the zodiac. Soft music plays still.
Methought I saw the figure of 2 men descend from yonder cloud on yonder hill.
I thought so too, but they are disappeared, and the winged chariots fled.
Enter Kepler and Galileus.
See, sir, they approach.
The doctor rises and bows.
Most reverend sir, we, from the upper world, thus low salute you. Kepler and Galileus we are called, sent as interpreters to great Iradonazor, the emperor of the moon who is descending.
Most reverend bards, profound philosophers, thus low I bow to pay my humble gratitude.
The emperor, sir, salutes you and your fair daughter.
And, sir, the Prince of Thunderland salutes you and your fair niece.
Thus low I fall to thank their royal goodness.
Kneels. They take him up.
Came you, most reverend bards, from the moon world?
Most lovely maid, we did.
May I presume to ask the manner how?
By cloud, sir, through the regions of the air, down to the famed Parnassus, thence by water, along the river Helicon, the rest by post upon 2 winged eagles.
Sir, are there store of our world inhabiting the moon?
Oh, of all nations, sir, that lie beneath it in the emperor's train. Sir, you will behold abundance. Look up and see the orbal world descending. Observe the zodiac, sir, with her 12 signs.
Next, the zodiac descends, a symphony playing all the while. When it is landed, it delivers the 12 signs. Then the song, the persons of the zodiac being the singers. After which the negroes dance and mingle in the chorus.
A song for the zodiac. Let murmuring lovers no longer repine, but their hearts and their voices advance. Let the nymphs and the swains in the kind chorus join, and the satyrs and fauns in a dance. Let nature put on her beauty of May, and the fields and the meadows adorn. Let the woods and the mountains resound with the joy, and the echoes their triumph return. For since love wore his darts, and virgins grew coy, since these wounded hearts and those could destroy, there ne'er was more cause for your triumphs and joy. Hark, hark, the music of the spheres, some wonder approaching declares, such as has not blessed your eyes and ears this 1,000,000,000 years. See, what the force of love can make, who rules in heaven, in earth and sea. Behold how he commands the zodiac, while the fixed signs unhinging all obey, not one of which but represents the attributes of love, who governs all the elements in harmony above. For since love wore his darts, and virgins grew coy, since these wounded hearts and those could destroy, there ne'er was more cause for your triumphs and joy.
The wanton Aries first descends to show the vigor and the play. Beginning love attends, when the young passion is all over joy. He bleeds his soft pain to the fair curled throng, and he leaps and he bounds and loves all the day long. At once love's courage and his slavery in Taurus is expressed. Though o'er the plains the conqueror be, the generous beast does to the yoke submit his noble breast. While Gemini, smiling and twining of arms, shows love's soft endearment and charms, and Cancer's slow motion the degrees do express, respectful love arrives to happiness. Leo his strength and majesty, Virgo her blushing modesty, and Libra all his equity. His subtlety does Scorpio show, and Sagittarius all his loose desire. By Capricorn his forward humour know, and Aqua lover's tears that raise his fire, while Pisces, which entwined do move, show the soft play and wanton arts of love.
For since love wore his darts, and virgins grew coy, since these wounded hearts and those you destroy, there ne'er was more cause for triumphs and joy. See how she turns and sends her signs to earth. Behold the ram, Aries. See Taurus next descends, then Gemini. See how the boys embrace. Next Cancer, then Leo, then the Virgin, next to her Libra. Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. This 8,000 years no emperor has descended but incognito. But when he does, to make his journey more magnificent, the zodiac, sir, attends him.
'Tis all amazing, sir.
Now, sir, behold the globic world descends 2,000 leagues below its wonted station, to shew obedience to its proper monarch.
After which the globe of the moon appears. First, like a new moon, as it moves forward it increases until it comes to the full. When it is descended, it opens and shows the emperor and the prince. They come forth with all their train, the flutes playing a symphony before them, which prepares the song. Which ended, the dancers mingle as before.
A song. All joy to mortals, joy and mirth. Eternal Ios sing. The gods of love descend to earth. Their darts have lost the sting. The youth shall now complain no more of Sylvia's needless scorn, but she shall love if he adore, and melt when he shall burn.
The nymph no longer shall be shy, but leave the jolting road, and Daphne now no more shall fly, the wounded, panting god. But all shall be serene and fair, no sad complaints of love shall fill the gentle whispering air, no echoing sighs the grove.
Beneath the shades young Strephon lies, of all his wish possessed, gazing on Sylvia's charming eyes, whose soul is there confessed. All soft and sweet the maid appears, with looks that hath no art, and though she yields with trembling fears, she yields with all her heart. See, sir, the cloud of foreigners appears, French, English, Spaniards, Danes, Turks, Russians, Indians, and the nearer climes of Christendom. And lastly, sir, behold the mighty emperor!
A chariot appears, made like a half-moon, in which is Cinthio for the emperor, richly dressed, and Charmante for the prince, rich, and with a good many heroes attending. Cinthio's train borne by 4 cupids. The song continues while they descend and land. They address themselves to Elaria and Bellemante. Doctor falls on his face, the rest bow very low as they pass. They make signs to Kepler.
The emperor would have you rise, sir. He will expect no ceremony from the father of his mistress.
Takes him up.
I cannot, sir, behold his mightiness. The splendour of his majesty confounds me.
You must be moderate, sir. It is expected.
The two lovers make all the signs of love in dumb show to the ladies, while the soft music plays again from the end of the song.
Shall I not have the joy to hear their heavenly voices, sir?
They never speak to any subject, sir, when they appear in royalty, but by interpreters, and that by way of strentrophon, in manner of the Delphic oracles.
Anyway, so I may hear the sense of what they would say.
No doubt you will, but see the emperor commands by signs his foreigners to dance.
Soft music changes. A very antic dance. The dance ended, the front scene draws off and shows a temple with an altar, one speaking through a stentrophon from behind it. Soft music plays the while.
Most learned sir, the emperor now is going to declare himself according to his custom to his subjects. Listen.
Most reverend sir, whose virtue did incite us, whose daughter's charms did more invite us, we come to grace her with that honor that never mortal yet has done her. Once only Jove was known in story to visit Semele in glory, but fatal 'twas he so enjoyed her, her own ambitious flame destroyed her. His charms too fierce for flesh and blood, she died embracing of her god. We gentler marks of passion give, the maid we love shall love and live, whom visibly we thus will grace above the rest of human race. Say, is't your will that we should wed her, and nightly in disguises bed her?
The glory is too great for mortal wife.
Kneels with transport.
What then remains but that we should consummate this happy marriage in our splendid state?
Thus low I kneel in thanks for this great blessing.
Cinthio takes Elaria by the hand. Charmante, Bellemante. Two of the singers in white being priests, they lead him to the altar, the whole company dividing on either side, where, while a hymeneal song is sung, the priest joins their hands. The song ended and they married, they come forth. But before they come forward, two chariots descend, one on one side above and the other on the other side, in which is Harlequin, dressed like a mock hero with others, and Scaramouche in the other, dressed so in helmets.
Stay, mighty emperor, and vouchsafe to be the umpire of our difference.
Cinthio signs to Kepler.
What are you?
Two neighbouring princes to your vast domain.
Knights of the Sun, our honourable titles, and fight for that fair mortal Mopsophyll.
Bless us. My two precious lovers, I'll warrant. Well, I had better take up with one of them than lie alone tonight.
Long as two rivals we have loved and hoped, both equally endeavoured and both failed, at last by joint consent we both agreed to try our titles by the dint of lance, and choose your mightiness for arbitrator.
The emperor gives consent.
Scaramouche and Harlequin, both all armed, with gilded lances and shields of black, with golden suns painted. The music plays a fighting tune. They fight at barriers to the tune. Harlequin is often foiled, but advances still. At last Scaramouche throws him, and is conqueror. All give judgment for him. Kepler to Scaramouche.
The emperor pronounces you a victor.
Receive your mistress, sir, as the reward of your undoubted valour.
Presents Mopsophyll.
Your humble servant, sir, and Scaramouche returns you humble thanks.
Puts off his helmet.
Ha! Scaramouche!
Falls in a chair. They all go to him.
My heart misgives me. Oh, I am undone, and cheated every way.
Be patient, sir, and call up all your virtue. You're only cured, sir, of a disease that long has reigned over your nobler faculties. Sir, I am your physician, friend, and counsellor. It was not in the power of herbs or minerals, of reason, common sense, and right religion, to draw you from an error that unmanned you.
I will be patient, gentlemen, and hear you. Are you not Ferdinand?
I am, and these are gentlemen of quality, that long have loved your daughter and your niece. Don Cinthio this, and this is Don Charmante, the Viceroy's nephews both, who found as men 'twas impossible to enjoy 'em, and therefore tried this stratagem.
Sir, I beseech you, mitigate your grief. Although indeed we are but mortal men, yet we shall love you, serve you, and obey you.
Are not you then the Emperor of the Moon, and you the Prince of Thunderland?
There's no such person, sir. These stories are the phantoms of mad brains, to puzzle fools withal. The wise laugh at 'em. Come, sir, you shall no longer be imposed upon.
No Emperor of the Moon, and no moon world?
Ridiculous inventions. If we had not loved you, and you had been still imposed on, you had brought a scandal on your learned name, and all succeeding ages had despised it.
Doctor leaps up.
Burn all my books, and let my study blaze. Burn all to ashes, and be sure the wind scatter the vile, contagious, monstrous lies. Most noble youths, you've honoured me with your alliance, and you and all your friends, assistances in this glorious miracle, I invite tonight to revel with me. Come all, and see my happy recantation of all the follies fables have inspired till now. Be pleasant to repeat your story, to tell me by what kind degrees you cozened me. I see there's nothing in philosophy.
Gravely to himself.
Of all that writ, he was the wisest bard who spoke this mighty truth. He that knew all that ever learning writ, knew only this, that he knew nothing yet.
Exeunt. End of Act 3. Epilogue.
With our old plays, as with dull wife it fares, to whom you have been married tedious years. You cry, she's wondrous good, it is confessed, but still 'tis chapon bouille at the best. That constant dish can never make a feast, yet the polled pleasure you must still pursue. Who gives so small encouragement for new, and who would drudge for such a wretched age? Who want the bravery to support one stage, the wiser wits have now new measures set, and taken up new trades that they may hate. No more your nice fantastic pleasures serve, your pimps you pay, but let your poets starve. They long in vain for better usage hoped, till quite undone and tired they dropped and dropped. Not one is left will write for thin third day, like desperate picaroons, no prize, no pay. And when they have done their best, the recompense is damn the sot has play wants common sense, ill-natured wit who can so ill requite the drudging slaves who your pleasure write. Look back on flourishing Rome, ye proud ingrates, and see how she her thriving poets treats. Wisely she prized them at the noblest rate, as necessary ministers of state, and contributions raised to make 'em great. They from the public bank she did maintain, and freed from want they only writ for fame, and were as useful in a city held as formidable armies in the field. They but a conquest over men pursued, while these by gentle force the soul subdued. Not Rome in all her happiest pomp could show a greater Caesar than we boast of now. Augustus reigns, but poets still are low. May Caesar live, and while his mighty hand is scattering plenty over the land, with godlike bounty recompensing all, some fruitful drops may on the Muses fall, since honest pens do his just cause afford equal advantage with the useful sword.
End of The Emperor of the Moon by Aphra Behn.